Thank you for joining us. I am Tamika Lodge-Fenton. Today we'll be going through some City and Guilds questions. Let us begin today's session. So this question says the table shows the weights at birth for 90 babies born during May. The information on the diagram from the table started at 2.3 being the lightest weight of the baby, and we had 9 babies there, and the heaviest baby would have been 3 kilograms. Now the question that was asked, which was answered incorrectly because there was something in the question that I did not pay keen attention to. It says, what fraction of the babies weighed at least 2.6 kilogram at birth? So we have to look at this question a little bit more. What does at least mean? At least means that it can be more, but not less. So if it says at least 2.6 kilogram, we had to look not only on 2.6, but any baby who would have weighed more than 2.6. So that would incorporate the 2.6, 2.7, 2.8, 2.9, and 3.0 kilogram babies. So let's look at what the question. So this is what should have been done as that information I just went through. So we need to add the number of babies that weigh 2.6, 2.7, 2.8, 2.9, and 3.0. And that would total in 66 babies out of the 90 babies that were born in May. And if we were to simplify that fraction, we would find a common factor. In this case, it's 3. So 3 factored out of 66 gives us 11. 3 factored out of 90 gives us 15. So the simplest representation for 66 90th is 11 15th. So that is the answer for that question. Let's just look at this one. Use this formula to find the volume, indicated by V, of a cone. And I've gone ahead and put a cone on it for you, so it's a solid object, looking like that if you've never seen a cone before. Now they've given you the formula, 1/3 multiplied by pi multiplied by r squared multiplied by h. So they've also given you some other information. When the radius, indicated by r, is 3 centimeter, when the height is 7 centimeter. They also gave you the value of pi that should be used. Now pi can be used as 22 over 22 sevenths or 3.14. So in this case, they want you to use 22 sevenths. Now, what is being asked of you, which I hope you would know by now, to use the given formula to calculate the volume of the cone with the given dimensions. So they gave you what r should be, or what r is in this case, and what the height is. Let's look at it. So all you're doing is substituting the value that were given to you. So we have 1/3 multiplied by what pi is, which is 22 over 7, multiplied by r squared. From yesterday's lesson, when you square something, you multiply it by itself. So if I'm squaring r, which is 3 centimeter, I have to multiply it by 3 centimeter as well. So you see my r squared here, multiplied by the height, 7 centimeter. Great. So I'm just going to simplify that, write it a little bit easier to look at. 1 multiplied by 22 by 3 centimeter by 3 centimeter. I left out a multiplication there, but it should be multiplied by 3 centimeter there. Now, please remember, I have placed my centimeter in my working out. It is there for a reason, which we'll see as we continue. So now you can simplify this expression. So I'm going to treat it like a fraction. So I have a numerator and a denominator. Is there anything I can factor out of the numerator and denominator? Yes, there is. I can factor out 3 and I can factor out 7. After factoring out the 3 and the 7, I now have 1 multiplied by 22 multiplied by 1 centimeter multiplied by 3 centimeter multiplied by 1. When I do that calculation, I will have 22 multiplied by 3 centimeter cube, because I would have had 1, 2, 3 dimensions in centimeter to give me that cubed right there, cubed value. So now 22 multiplied by 3 centimeter cube gives me 66 cubic centimeter. Volume is a cubed unit or a cubic unit, as the calculation requires 3 dimension. And that would be your length, width, and height. Next question. Solve the equation 3x plus 9 equal 30. Let us look. Now, just a few pointers. When you have an equation, both sides of the equation are equal in value. So what we're saying, 3y plus 9 is the same value as 30. That's why it has an equal sign. So let us continue. We're solving to find the value of y, which will make this equation true. What is being done to y? Let us look. So we have 3y, that means the y is being multiplied by 3. And then we have add 9. So 9 is also being multiplied to 3y, added to 3y. So we're going to move in a backward situation. So we're going to undo the last thing that was done to the y. We added 9, so we're going to subtract the 9 because we want to get y on its own. We want to make y the subject of the formula. We want to transpose for y. I'm saying it over and over because there are several ways which we can say it, making y the subject of the formula. Solving for y. So we're subtracting the 9 because it was added to it. Now, remember I said, you are balancing the equation. If you were to think of a scale, if you had 2 parts of the scale, when it balances, if you take something out of this side, you also have to take out something of equal value from the other side to ensure that the scale remains balanced. Same thing with your equation here. So we're subtracting 9 on the left side. We also subtract 9 on the right side. Let's see what happens. So we end up with 3y equal 21. What is happening to the y there? It's been multiplied by 3. Now I want to undo that. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we will now divide both sides of the equation by 3. And that will give us y is equal to 7. And let's check if that works out. So we're going to substitute the value of y, being 7, into the original equation. So 3 times 7, 21, plus 9, and it seems to be perfectly fine. So that's 30 equal 30. Great job. Oh my goodness. We're just going to have to talk about this one because everything is already on the board. So we have 2x subtract 6 equal 16. We're balancing the equation, same thing. The last thing done is 6 was subtracted. The opposite of subtraction is addition. So we've added 6 to both sides of the equation, giving us 2x equal 22. Now what is happening to the x? It's being divided by 2, multiplied by 2. Opposite of multiplication, division again, and we divide, and x is 11. Sub 11 into it, and it works out to be the very same thing on both sides of your equation. All right. I hope you're following, and I hope you're getting everything that we're doing. So let's read this one together. An electrician works out the price for each job based on a fixed call-out charge, which is indicated by C, plus a rate, R, for the time taken. Let's read that again, because you may miss that. So a fixed call-out charge, C, plus a rate for the time taken. What is the correct formula for the price of each job? What would you want to, how would you go about this? All right, let us look. So we'd have to put down some things that we'd have gotten from the information. So there's a fixed call-out charge indicated by C, the rate, R, the time, T, and the price, P. So in terms of P, let us see what we would have. P is equal to the fixed call-out charge plus, see the plus, rate for the time taken. And that means you'd multiply the rate by whatever time you would have taken to do the job. So your formula would look like P equals C plus RT. The gradient of the line. What is this question asking us to do? So your options, you see your options? So it's asking you which of the following option gives the correct value for the gradient of the line. But there are a few things we have to look at before we can get there. So gradient, what is gradient? Gradient equals the change in your y values divided by the change in your x values. Some persons may say rise over run. So we also have to know what the line, the equation for a line looks like. So I've just put it there for you. Y equal mx plus c, where m indicates the gradient. All right? So in this case, we have the gradient would be change in y. So I'm going to start from this point to this point. So from this point, you have the y would be this way. So that's 2 and divided by 1. So the gradient in this case would be 2. So option C has the correct value for the gradient. Gradient gives us the rate of change. Let us just look at this for a little bit more clarity. Find the gradient between point A and B. Gradient is equal to rise over run. Rise is indicated by your change in your y-axis, while your run is the distance on your x-axis. So we have here 3 for your y and 7 for your x. And pretty much when you have an uphill, we read graphs from left to right. When you have an uphill gradient, or what I say, positive gradient gives you an uphill slope. Negative gradient gives you a downhill slope. Always read from left to right. Question on the board. See a lovely diagram there. Let's look at the information that's on it. It says angle B is 50 degrees. What is the value of angle D? Now, what information would you need in order to access this particular question? You'd need to know angles, any relationship that may exist with angles formed when parallel lines is cut by a transversal. So, as you can see, these lines are parallel and you're transversal. All right. So let us refresh our minds. When angles are cut, when parallel lines are cut by a transversal, certain angles are formed. Let us look at them. We have alternate exterior angles, and you see they're highlighted by the color blue, and those angles are congruent. Do you know what congruent means? Excellent. It means same. So they have the same degree of value of degree or degree of value. They measure the same degree. Let's go with that. Then you have same side interior angles, which are supplementary. What does supplementary mean? Correct. It means that they add up to 180 degrees. Then you have corresponding angles indicated by the yellow color here, and they are also congruent. And I know you understand what congruent means now. Alternate interior angles are also congruent, and you have same side exterior angles, which are supplementary. So they also add up to 180. So let's look at our diagram. We have AB on the lower line, and we have CD on the upper line. They gave us the value for B. Is there any relationship that you can see that will help you in figuring out what angle D measures? Great. If you realize that angle C and B are alternate interior angles, that was great. So they are the same, which we said, congruent. So B is equal to C. That means C is also 50 degrees. Now, another thing that you should know is that angles on a straight add up to 180 degrees. That means C plus D will give you 180. So if you added two things and got something, if you take away one, it must give the other one. So let's look. 180 subtracting the 50 degree that you already know will give us the value for D, which is 130 degrees. But let's say you saw another way, and this could be it. So same side interior angles. So you have B and D. Is that? Same side interior? Yes. So B and D are same side interior angles. What am I looking at? Okay, let's look at the working out. So we have 180 subtract, exactly. So B and D will add to give you, they're supplementary. I wasn't paying attention. I thought they were congruent. And if it couldn't be congruent because if you look at the span of D and B, they're different. So they couldn't be congruent, but they're most definitely supplementary. So 180 would be the sum of these two angles. So I can say 180 degrees equal B plus D. 180 subtract 50 would give me the value for D, which is 130 degrees, which works out to be the very same in our first working out. All right. Let's look at this question. This diagram shows two dimensions of a right angled triangle. Are we seeing it? Great. What knowledge do we need here in order to find out the length of side X? What do you know about right angled triangles? Well, there is a theory called the Pythagoras theorem, which tells us that for every right angled triangle, there is a relationship that exists with all three sides. Now let's look at this one here. So the 90 degrees tell us it's a right angle. The longest side is called the hypotenuse. The square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the square of the other two sides. So that is what we need to know right now. Using that knowledge, the hypotenuse is given and one of the other side is given, so we can use it to solve for the unknown. We plug it into that very same formula or equation and we've pretty much solved. So 10 centimeters squared is equal to x squared, the unknown side, plus 8 centimeters squared. 10 centimeters squared is 100 centimeters square. And where's my x? X squared plus 8 squared, which is 8 times 8, is 64 centimeters squared. All right, so we would have subtracted the 64 centimeters squared from the 100 centimeters squared, and we get 36 centimeters squared, which equals to x squared. We don't want to find x, we don't want to find x squared. So we have to find the square root of both sides. Giving us, and you see the square root sign right there, giving us 6 centimeter is the value which will satisfy this particular right angle triangle. All right, let us look at shape A and shape B. The sides of shape B are double the length of the sides of shape A. The area of shape B is it half the area of shape A, 2 times the area of shape A, 3 times the area of shape A, or 4 times the area of shape A? Let's investigate. Let's explore a little. So let's look on the board, and we're going to have shape A, and we're going to have shape B. Now, we're going to actually figure out what is the answer. So let's say this is a 2 by 2 square. Remember, the relationship is what is important here. We want to look at the relationship that exists with the size of the shape. Uh-oh. There you go. So if it's doubled, what is 2 doubled? 4. So that means 2, the area they said, the area. So to find the area, length times width, 2 times 2 gives us 4 squared units. So let's say it's centimeter. It will be centimeter squared. And 4 times 4 is 16 squared centimeter. There you go. Now, the relationship between 4 and 16. What is that? 16 is actually 4 times larger than 4. Let's try it with 1. So 1 times 1, and then double that would be 2. Okay, so it'd be 1 times 1 is 1, square that. 2 times 2 is 4. So as you can see, if we try it with 3, it would be 3 times 3, which is 9, and double that, 6 times 6 is 36. 9 does go into 36 4 times. So it is 4 times the area of the shape. Let us look at this question. Eraser. So let's read it. It says, you are to find the volume of the metal shape. This is a cross-section of the metal shape. So you have several units there giving you lengths of the base. So if I had the shape here and I cut across it and showed it to you like this, that is what you'll be seeing. It gave you some other information. It says the metal shape is 5 centimeters long. When you're looking at volume, what is important here? Volume uses 3 dimensions. It is the amount of space something occupies. So the volume of this shape, we need to find out the area of the base. All right, so let's quickly put it on the board. It's very easy. It may look a little bit complex to you, but don't pay it any mind. It's a very easy shape to work out. See, I'm trying to get the drawing right for you. So we have 1 centimeter. You know, I did put it here, so it will be easier for me. And you have 3, 1, 2, 4, 1. So you have to pay attention to all the measurements given. Now, there's nothing that I can do to find the area of all of this in one go. But I know how to find the area of a rectangle or a square. So I can easily use that knowledge and cut up these things into things that I can work with. So the area of this would be length times width, which is 3 times 1, which is 3 squared. This length is 2. All of this is 3, right? All of this is 4, but this is 1. So if all of this is 3 and this is 1, what would add to 1 to give me 3? 2. So I can now deduce that this is 2. This shape here is a 2 by 2, so the area would be 2 by 2, which would be 4 centimeters squared. This one here is a 4 by 1, so 4 times 1 equals 4 centimeters squared. So the total area of there would be 4 centimeter, that plus 4 again, plus 3. Good. Let's add that up. 4 and 4 is 8. 8 and 3, what we get? 11. That looks about right. So we have the area of the total of the base is that. Now they ask you to find the volume. Volume requires 3 units, so the volume would be this area of the base multiplied by the height, which they gave us to be 5 centimeters. So the volume of this shape is 55 centimeters cubed.